From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Sports Line.
Hey there, Titans Talk on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Victory Monday after the Titans go down to Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars 37-19 yesterday, handing Jacksonville its 20th consecutive loss. Maybe it seems easy when you're facing a team like that, but trust me, division rival never seems to be the case. And we all remember what happened just a week ago when the Titans went up to East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on a Jets team that at the time was winless. And they lost. They lost in overtime in that game, and they did not play well. This is a team that is beat up. They're trying to fight for everything at this point in time, and they went down there yesterday and they handled their business. It wasn't always pretty. They gave up too many yards. They didn't handle the rushing attack of the Jaguars very well. Offensively, they still gave up 3 sacks against a pass rush that is not exactly the steel curtain of the 70s or the Ravens defense of 2000. But the Titans defense was able to come up with some big plays. They got a fumble on the 3rd play of the game. Elijah Molden getting his hat in there on the football. Kevin Byard falling on it, then getting up and running it in for a touchdown. And the Titans led 7-0 just a minute into the game. Byard later got an interception. Those 2 turnovers double the Titans' turnover output to the season up to this point. They got a 4th down stop in the 4th quarter. Actually, they got 2, but in particular, the one on the goal line, 4th and inches. That's a series there where the Jaguars are trying to get back within a score in the 4th quarter. Kevin Byard again makes a great play on 3rd down to track down Trevor Lawrence and stop him just short of the goal line. They had to go back on replay. He was initially ruled in, and they saw on replay that the knee brought him just down in front of the goal line. That's the type of play you got to make when you fight for everything. They talk all the time, that cliche about defending every blade of grass. Well, this is the perfect example of why you do it. If Byard doesn't make the hustle play to get over there, Lawrence gets in for the touchdown, and it's a 1-score game. The fact that he does, he stops him short, replay spots it back out, 6 inches from the goal line, and you have a 4th and goal play. And then what happens? Teair Tart blows it up the middle. Chris Jackson comes in on the outside and wrestles Carlos Hyde to the turf, and the Titans get a huge goal line stand at that point of the game. That's the type of complementary effort on the defensive side of the ball. The offense puts up 37 points, or at least 30 from the offensive perspective. I guess we shouldn't give him credit for Kevin Byard's fumble return for a touchdown, but the offense puts up 30 points. They run the ball effectively. Derrick Henry with 130 yards and 3 touchdowns again. And you started to see more of the passing game yesterday. A.J. Brown, limited workload, but looked more like himself. And at some point he's going to get back to his dominant level as a wide receiver. You look at Marcus Johnson, a guy who was so good back in training camp. He comes in yesterday, actually leads the team in receiving. You get a Chester Rogers play. Cam Batson had a role yesterday. Anthony Ferkser had a role yesterday. A week after watching New York, where it was like, oh my gosh, can anybody make a catch that really gets open and makes this team go right now? You saw yesterday a team that had multiple different options to go to in the passing game. And the offense worked better with it. I thought Tad Danning did a great job of play calling yesterday as well. We criticized him here on the program last week for not having the answers, giving the lack of talent that was on the field in New York. It was basically Derrick Henry on 1st and 2nd down and then Prey on 3rd down in the passing game. There was no real creativity in that game. Yesterday, there was a lot of creativity. And the Titans spread it around. They got a bunch of people involved. They had 1 2nd quarter drive where the Titans went 75 yards. And on the drive, they never faced a 3rd down. And they had 6 different guys touch the football besides Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback. That's how you move the ball effectively. That's how you can get in a rhythm on the offense. And I credit Todd Downing a lot yesterday for finding a way to get his playmakers the ball in space and getting this offense into a rhythm, because they were in a rhythm yesterday, and it looked good when they were doing it. Now the question is, can they continue to do that? Yesterday we saw glimpses of the recipe that makes the Titans successful. It's be balanced offensively. They were perfectly balanced yesterday with 184 yards rushing and 184 yards passing. Opportunistic defensively, they got 2 turnovers. They got the 2 fourth down stops, which are basically like turnovers when you think about it. And then you hand it over to Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter to pound away and take the will away from the opponent. And you saw that again yesterday. Of his 130 yards, 99 of them came in the second half of that game. 2 of his touchdowns came in the second half. He put the Titans on his shoulders once again, and he put the Jaguars back on their heels. And once again, he has a monstrous effort against the hometown team, going back down there where he was, as Mike Keith called him yesterday on the radio broadcast, the Yulee bulldozer back in high school. Well, he was a bulldozer in the second half yesterday. And that, again, is how the Titans close games out. The question now is, can they do it consistently when the team on the other side of the ball hasn't lost 20 consecutive games? Yesterday was a good performance. They did what they needed to do. And the Jaguars didn't give them anything. But it gets a whole lot tougher coming up now. You've got the Bills a week from tonight at Nissan Stadium, Monday Night Football. Then you've got the Chiefs coming to town. Then you go to Indianapolis, who looks pretty good tonight on Monday Night Football, by the way, in Baltimore so far. A team that the Titans already beat earlier in the year. They're trying to get back into the division race, and it is always difficult up there in Indy at Lucas Oil Stadium. And then after that, you go back on the road the next week for a Sunday Night Football game in Los Angeles against a Rams team that is putting up points in bunches this year. The schedule's been what it's been so far, especially the last 3 weeks. The next month gets a whole lot tougher. It is the most difficult 4-game stretch on the Titans' schedule this season. And here's the bottom line after yesterday. They've got to play better, or it's not going to be pretty in that stretch. I still think the Titans are hands down the best team in the AFC South. I think they will ultimately win this division. The question is this a team that wins the division playing the up and down type of football that we've seen so far this year and ends up at 9-8 or 10-7 in that range, which means you're not going to have great seeding in the playoffs? Or is this a team that can get hot and can play better football and really show over the next few weeks that when healthy, they can compete against the best teams in the AFC? That is the question that we will get answered starting next Monday night against the Bills, who, by the way, look right now like the best team in the AFC. And it's a little bit of a deja vu scenario, I think. If you remember back just last year, the Titans had that COVID outbreak. They had 23 people in the organization test positive. Late September and early October. They got shut down. They had the game against the Steelers that had to be postponed. Then you have the game against the Bills, have to get moved and backed up a couple days. Ultimately, they played it on a Tuesday night. Really hadn't practiced very much. You wondered what they would be going out there against the Bills team that looked to be a contender. And the Titans went out there and ran roughshod over Buffalo. Now, you know the Bills are going to remember that coming in, but a year ago, the Titans were doubted in this situation. They were doubted against the Bills. They were doubted considering what we'd seen from them. In that case, it was off the field with the COVID stuff. And they came back on the field, and they showed exactly who they were. And that was a team that could compete with the best teams in the AFC last year. And they ultimately won the division. Now, they didn't have the postseason that they would like, but that game showed that last year's team was for real and could go on and really compete in the AFC. We've seen a lot of up and down play for them so far. That is the same question we're asking now. Can the Titans truly compete in the AFC with the best teams? Well, they're going to get two of the best teams in the next couple of weeks. They're going to get the Bills, then they're going to get the Chiefs. Can they have a similar type of performance? Can they go out there and tell us that this is who we are? We are a team that can go nose to nose with the Buffalo Bills right now. That's what's on them. That's what they have to show to us right now. Because yesterday was fine. Yesterday was taking care of business in the manner in which you have to take care of business when you're taking on a Jaguars team that hasn't won in 2 years. Well, year and a half. Little over a full calendar year. But that's not going to be good enough as they move forward. The Titans have to be better in a lot of different areas. I mean, when you look at it, 3-2, 2 games up in the AFC South right now. Okay, that's good. But when you look at this team, there are some concerns. There are some real concerns when you look at how they've played. I mean, just yesterday, they gave up 454 yards to the Colts. And that comes 1 week after that game in New York where the Jets put up 27 when they'd only scored 20 in the first 3 games of the season combined. You don't think that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford are licking their chops at the opportunity that awaits them over the next month? I think so. The Titans have surrendered 20 sacks on the season. That is the most in the NFL. Obviously, the negative plays hurt you, but can Ryan Tannehill survive and continue to be the quarterback of this team and make plays when he's getting hit that much? He got sacked 3 times yesterday, got hit a couple other times that were even bigger blows on plays that didn't go down as sacks. I think you have to have a concern about Tannehill's health. So far, he seems to be incredibly tough and durable. But there aren't many guys in the league that can take that many hits. And speaking of that, you've got an injury list that stands 21 people long right now. Julio Jones has missed 9 of his last 21 games in the National Football League. Those are concerns. Roger Saffold can't seem to finish a game right now. He's tough. He's starting every week, despite that shoulder pain. But he's struggling to finish. Do they need to shut him down? Are there other guys that need to get shut down? Will Jones come back anytime soon? Because they need all those pieces to come together for this team to reach its full potential. The Titans do have a lot of potential. It's not clear they have a ton of depth right now. And that's part of what you saw last year with Isaiah Wilson being the bust he was as a first-round pick. You worry about some of the things on the offensive line and the depth they have. Well, part of that is they had to address right tackle in free agency and the draft this year. That should have been sewed up if Isaiah Wilson was the draft pick they expected him to be. So that bust now hurts the team now. Other draft picks haven't stepped into the fold and played the way you expect them to. So you're looking at a team that has the potential to be good, has the potential to be really good perhaps. But they need the top guys healthy and out there, and they need them to perform. And there are real question marks about the performance through the first 5 weeks. The one guy you cannot question is Derrick Henry. The 130 yards, 3 touchdowns yesterday. Now he has ownership of the best 40-game rushing mark in NFL history. Over the last 3 seasons, essentially, he's rushed for almost 4,800 yards. That's just a touch better than the great Jim Brown for the best 40-game stretch in NFL history. It is remarkable to see what he is doing. He's already ahead of his pace for last year when he went over 2,000 yards. He's on pace to set the NFL single-season rushing record, win 3 straight rushing titles, go back-to-back in the 2,000-yard club, which, of course, has never been done before. I mean, this is historic stuff, what you're seeing from Derrick Henry. But again, the workload that is coming for Henry, how much can he take? I mean, at the moment, it seems like he can take it all. But he's also on pace to have the most carries in a single season. 480 plus. That is a ton of carries. That is a ton of hits. And this comes after 2 or 3 seasons where he had a ton of carries. Most human running backs have not been able to withstand that type of punishment. Again, so far, Derrick Henry, who it wouldn't surprise me if you told me that he was a superhero, given the way he's built and given the way he runs. So far, he's withstood all that and continued the production at that elite level. But can you continue to expect that? Because the workload of the last couple of seasons, which seemed crazy to a lot of people on the outside looking in, that a running back could do that and continue to have the success that he had, that's only ticked up this year. He's averaging 28 carries a game. That is a ton of work. And that's what Derrick Henry has to deal with. And he expects it. He knows what he means to this team and that he has to be ready to go each and every week and take that beating and still produce. That's his job, and he gets it. But I think there probably is a concern that even Derrick Henry might have a breaking point when it comes to taking that many carries and receiving that many hits during the course of the season. What do you think about this Titans team? 737-7767. That's our number. A nice win yesterday down there in Jacksonville. They lead the AFC South, but it has been an up and down start at 3-2, and the schedule gets tougher in front of them, starting with that Monday Night Football game a week from tonight against the Bills at Nissan Stadium. We want to hear from you tonight. Our lines are open. Again, 737-7767 is the number. Call us up. Join in on the discussion. We're back after this. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.